What is going on, guys? I am back with another review of a day at an amusement park, and this time I will be reviewing this past Monday, which was my 13th visit to my favorite Pennsylvanian amusement park, Knoebels Amusement Resort. And so it was a good day at Knoebels, and so anyways, let's just get started. When I first got to Knoebels, I got my Ride All Day wristband like usual, and after that, I rope dropped Flying Turns, only for it to not even open till later. So after that disappointment, I went to go ride Flyer, and then after Flyer, I was thinking about riding Twister, but then it was down, and I saw Maggie in the area sitting by the bench. So shout out Maggie, and I saw that Twister was closed for maintenance when I got in the area, and I was like, you gotta be kidding me right now. So I headed to Stratosphere instead, and Julia was helping out at it while Twister was down for that short time period. So shout out goes to Julia. I enjoyed seeing her at Stratosphere today, and I got 2 rides on Stratosphere while she was there, during the time period where Twister was down, and they were both very good rides on Stratosphere. And so anyways, after that I headed over to Fandango, I think it was, and then after Fandango, I think I rode Downdraft. I might have ridden Downdraft. I'm not too sure if I rode it or went to Rocco Plain, but anyway, either way, I went to Rocco Plain not too long after Fandango, and then after that, after Rocco Plain, I originally was gonna wait in line for Phoenix, but at the same time, I wanted to check the app to see if Twister reopened, and because the line for Phoenix was like outside the queue, and yeah, so I checked the app and Twister reopened, so I got happy and went over there for a ride on it. And, and shout out goes to the whole entire Twister crew. They're so amazing. And yeah, so after Twister, I headed over to after Twister, let me think. I think I might have headed over to Cosmotron, and then after Cosmotron, I headed over to Paratrooper. Then after Paratrooper, I headed to Pizza for lunch, and the slices from Pizza are always good. And so anyways, after Pizza, I headed over to Roto Jets, where it was a good ride on Roto Jets. And so after Roto Jets, I headed over to Grand Carousel, I think it was. And then after Grand Carousel, I headed to Italian Trapeze. And then after Italian Trapeze, I headed over to Satellite. And then after Satellite, I headed over to Scenic Skyway. And then after Scenic Skyway, I headed to Impulse, where I once again was able to get escorted to the front of the line, because I was a single rider, which saved me a lot of time. And yeah, so after Impulse, I headed over to Sklooge, which is always a good ride on Sklooge on a hot day. And so anyways, after Sklooge, I headed over to Pioneer Train. And then after Pioneer Train, I think I headed over to wait. Let me think. I think I headed over for a re-ride. For a ride on Flying Turns at that point, due to the disappointment from when I rope dropped it earlier in the day. And by the way, when I was rope dropping it earlier in the day, I saw Austin, which is a huge fan of huge fan of this channel. So Austin, if you're watching this, a shout out goes to you. I also ran into him throughout the day, so shout out Austin. But anyways, back to the day. So after Pioneer Train, I lined up for Flying Turns to make up for that disappointment. And so it was a good ride on Flying Turns like always, and shout out to that ride op who knows me, and she was like, are you excited? And yeah, so anyways, after that ride on Flying Turns in the back row, I headed over to Phoenix, I think it was. And then after Phoenix, I rode Giant Flume. Shout out William. Yeah, and so after that, I headed to Black Diamond. And then after Black Diamond, I think I headed over for a re-ride on Rocco Plane at that point. And then after Rocco Plane, I headed over to Fandango. And shout out Lily at Fandango, as always, by the way. And so after Fandango, I think I might have headed for a re-ride on Downdraft. Yeah, that's the point where I headed for that Downdraft re-ride. And then after that, I headed to Tornado. And then after Tornado, I headed to Stratosphere. And then after Stratosphere, I headed over to, I think, Twister for a re-ride on that. And then after Twister, I went to the Round Stand for dinner where I got a cheesesteak again. And those cheesesteaks from the Round Stand are always good. They never disappoint. And so anyways, after the Round Stand, I headed over to Teacups. And then after Teacups, I got a couple rides in on Twister. And then after those rides on Twister, I headed back over to Stratosphere for yet another ride on it. And then after Stratosphere, I headed to Fandango. And then after Fandango, I might have gotten another re-ride on Stratosphere. I think I got another re-ride on Stratosphere at that point. And then after that, I headed for at least a few more rides on Twister. And yeah, so and so after that, that basically concluded the day at Knoebels. So this concludes this review of this day I had at Knoebels. Despite the disappointments from earlier in the day, Flying Turns and Twister still ended up reopening, so I was still able to get rides in on them. And so to sum this all up, it was a good day at Knoebels. So shout out goes to Austin, like I said, and shout out goes to the Twister crew and everyone who recognized me today, and shout out goes to the Knoebels staff in general for an awesome day like always at my favorite Pennsylvania amusement park. And so anyways, with that being said, that basically concludes this review of my 13th visit to Knoebels Amusement Resort. Make sure to reply to me your thoughts on this video, and make sure to stay tuned for more coming soon to Coaster Plus Music 19, especially from my favorite park in PA, Knoebels Amusement Resort. And make sure to go check out my merch store on YouTube Shopping. There should be several products tagged in at least my recent videos, if not all of my videos. And make sure to subscribe if you're new and turn on post notifications so you will not miss when I upload a new video. And also, I now do memberships. So here's how it works. There's a yellow level, which is only $2.99, which gives you the basic benefits like royalty-free badges and emojis and members-only shorts and early access to new videos. And there's a green level, which is only $5.99, which offers all of the benefits of the yellow level plus a member shout-out. So if you want to become a member, what are you waiting for? Become a member of Coaster Plus Music 19 today. The link will be in the description to join. And with all that being said, I will see you all in the next.